That was a great way to start our morning, and I can't agree more that we are in trouble with school funding in Colorado. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with you a little bit today about why school funding is so important. Why does it matter anyway? As the principal of Field Elementary in Littleton, I have the opportunity to see every day exactly how and why it matters. Because I have 340 kids that walk in the door every morning, and they and their parents expect us to give them something more than what they walked in with. But before we talk about that, I want to walk through a quick activity. If you would open your folders and pull out a little half-sheet card that says Mock Student at the top. We're going to do a quick activity that I hope will personalize this for all of us. So as we started to develop the activity, we were wanting to come up with factors that impact our kids as they walk in the door, both positive and negative. And we had a list of over 50, and that was going to take too long, so we brought it down to 35 and then 29, and it was still going to be 20 minutes, and that's too long. So we're going to go through just a few of these factors today, but that's okay. If you hear me read one of the factors that's on your card, go ahead and put the plus or minus that I give you. You're not going to get them all, and that's okay because we'll show you up on the board exactly what it's going to look like at the end. So on your card, if your family makes below $22,000 a year, subtract 2 points. Just put a -2 on that top line. Below $50,000 a year, subtract 1 point, and above $70,000 a year, add 1 point. Now for each parent that graduated from high school, add 1 point, and for each parent who graduated or even attended some college, add 2 points. Now some educational access factors. If you've attended 3 or more elementary schools, subtract 2 points. If you've attended high-quality preschool, add 2 points, but if it specifically says you did not attend preschool, subtract 2 points. If you miss more than 15 days of school per year, subtract 2 points. And if you have fewer than 5 absences each year, add 2 points. If you've been homeless at any time in the past year, subtract 3 points. If you and your family go to the zoo, museums, parks, and cultural events, add 2 points. If one or more of your family members is concerned about being deported or has been deported, subtract 3 points. If you're read too often and you have access to books, add 2 points. If you speak 2 or more languages, add 2 points. And lastly, under medical care, nutrition, and exercise, if you have access to fresh produce and protein on a regular basis, add 2 points. And if you have untreated or undiagnosed medical or dental needs, subtract 3 points. Now imagine if we could line all of us up in the middle of the room, shoulder to shoulder, and instead of adding and subtracting points with each statement, and there were 50, you would take a step or 2 forward or a step or 2 backward. You can imagine at the end of that we would be scattered throughout the room, depending on the bio of the student that you're representing. Some of you would see that your child moved way forward in the room. And so when you hear about research that talks about the importance of reading to your child, the importance of listening to kids, the importance of nutrition and medical care and school attendance, you can see that impacts the way they walk into our classrooms in the morning. And some of you will find that your child took a lot of steps back. And when you hear research that talks about that there are more students entering our schools today with mental illness than ever before, or that more children are living in poverty than ever before, when you hear about the research that says the gap between the haves and the have-nots continues to get greater, or when you hear, and this one is a chilling one, about the research that says Students coming to school now, many of them have post-traumatic stress syndrome that is as severe as the PTSD our soldiers have who are returning from combat. You can believe it. So this is an indication of all of us standing on the line. Doesn't it look like us? If kids came into school with the same experiences and the same opportunities, the same advantages or disadvantages, then our graph would look like this. And if kids came in like this, then a school funding formula that treated all kids and all schools the same, that might work. But they don't come in like this. These are the actual responses to your child's profile that we plotted up here if we were to have answered all of them. And this represents the diversity of the background experiences that our kids walk in the door with every morning. The thing that we have to wrap our heads around is that when kids come into school, they bring their varied background with them. Whether it's living below the poverty line or not understanding the language that they're being instructed in. Experiences in their homes or neighborhoods, both positive and negative, that they come in with. Kids don't come in with the same things, and they don't come in needing the same things. Now, this is a simplified version of the impact of various factors on our students, and the reality is a much, much greater stratification. But hopefully this helps us visualize what's happening in our schools and why some schools and some students need more funding to meet the expectation that all students have a fair education. And it doesn't take long before we can see that if we are committed to moving all kids forward, if we're committed to making sure all kids have an equal opportunity for success, if we're committed to all of that, then we have to tell the truth, and that is that equal is not equitable. The effects of poverty are real. When kids come to school and they've been living below the poverty line for their entire lives, the chances are they're not just coming in missing a new box of crayons or a few school supplies. They are missing something much deeper and much greater. And those background experiences that they either had or didn't have, that impacts how they walk in the building, and it impacts what they need us to do for them. But here's the good news. People who work in schools that serve students with multiple risk factors, they understand something. They understand, and actually, one of the teachers from my school, Linnea Nelson, is here sitting over there in the middle. Wave your hand, Linnea. She's a 4th grade ELD teacher at Field. And Linnea and her colleagues, they understand that not only can every child learn, they deserve to learn as quick and as much and as well and as deep as the students who go to school across the town that have all of the advantages on their list. And teachers at school like Field, they understand something else. They understand that it is our job to meet them wherever they are and to take them to where they need to be. The teachers they do work tirelessly to make that happen. But we need more teachers in schools that have more needs. This is not an achievement gap, this is an opportunity gap. And the system isn't funded to fix it. If we believe in public education and we believe that education is the great equalizer, as Horace Mann is credited with saying, if we believe that all kids are capable and that all kids are worthy of an opportunity for success, then it's our job to fix the school funding formula so that our schools in Colorado are funded equitably, to put schools in a position to succeed by providing the resources that they need to ensure that all kids have the opportunities that they deserve. Let me tell you a little bit about Field. So Field, we have about 340 students. 83% of our kids are qualify for free and reduced lunch. We have about 40% of our students who are learning English. 58 are Hispanic, 31% white, and everybody else accounts for 11%. Our mobility rate is between 22 and 23%. And on each day or week, mobility rate means how many students come back every year. So we lose about 20% and get 20% new kids every year. And our homeless rate is about 4%. So every day, every week, that number, who the kids are, changes. But we have about 4% of our students who are homeless each day. I know that there are schools out there that are more diverse than us, and I know that there's a lot that are less diverse than us, but this is who we are. And we're proud of our kids, and we're proud of the teachers that teach them. And we have been very fortunate. I'm going to back up here to this slide. We've been very fortunate to work with a district team and a board that gets it, who is absolutely committed to figuring things out. The tragedy in education is that we know kids come in needing different things. We know that we want all kids to graduate prepared for meaningful post-secondary opportunities, but we don't acknowledge that getting everyone there will take more time, more talent, and more resources at a school that serves a lot of students who are walking in down here rather than walking in up there. And the reality is, your zip code matters. Depending on where you live, what school you attend, there are schools that serve a lot of kids who are walking in down here, and then there are schools serving a lot of kids walking in up there.